At my 20th birthday party, my childhood friend Ethan knelt on one knee, holding an engagement ring. "Grace, marry me." Tearfully, I nodded. But just as I extended my hand, Ethan suddenly slipped the engagement ring onto my best friend Chelsea's finger. The private room fell silent for a moment before erupting in laughter. Ethan scoffed, "It was just a joke, Grace. You didn't actually take me seriously, did you?" I just smiled, saying nothing, and looked past Ethan to his side. "Marcus, I bet Ethan would propose tonight, and I won. You owe me. Tomorrow, we're going to get our marriage certificate." At my words, the private room plunged into dead silence. Then, once again, laughter erupted. Seeing my lips pressed together in silence, Ethan kindly offered to diffuse the tension. "All right, everyone, it's still my childhood sweetheart's birthday party, give her some slack." Marcus's eyes were fixed on me. "Since we're getting our marriage certificate, you're moving into my place tonight." Marcus and I gazed at each other for a moment, then I nodded my agreement. My hands clenched tightly into fists at my sides, and a throbbing pain began in my heart. In the past, I would have burst into tears and fled in shame. But now, I swallowed the pain in my heart and walked towards Marcus, who was standing not far away. "Where are you going? Just because I said a few words, you're running off with a man? Can't you take a joke?" Ethan blocked my path, the mockery in his voice unwavering. Chelsea covered her mouth to stifle a laugh, only partially composing herself when she saw my gaze on her. "Ethan, Grace is still my best friend, after all. Don't tease her so much. Look at her, she's almost in tears." Seeing the two people I once cared about most making such a spectacle of me, I couldn't pinpoint the exact feeling, only that my chest felt tight and heavy. I remembered that a week ago, a specialty restaurant had opened in Viridia City. Knowing liked new things, I'd booked A.T. Abel, wanting to treat her to a big meal. That day was when I truly saw things clearly. Chelsea and I were college roommates, and we became best friends because we clicked so well. I confided all my secrets in her, including my feelings for Ethan. But to my surprise, after Chelsea learned Ethan's family was wealthy, she secretly started flirting with him behind my back. That day at the restaurant, while I was just stepping away to pay the bill, I overheard her phone call with Ethan about their bet. "Chelsea, what do you say? Have you decided to be my girlfriend?" "Chelsea, I don't know, maybe we should just keep it casual. If we really got together, I'm afraid Grace would be hurt." "Her? She's always trailing after me, I'm sick of it. I have a plan to make her give up on me completely, Chelsea. Just you wait." Chelsea smiled brightly, asking Ethan what his plan was. Ethan's playful voice rang out, "Her birthday is in a week. I'll organize a party for her, and that day I'll pretend to propose to her. It'll be the perfect chance to humiliate her properly. I don't believe she'll have the nerve to keep chasing after me then." As finished speaking, Chelsea's eyes crinkled into crescents with laughter. But standing in the shadows, I felt a wave of icy coldness. My heart felt like it was being squeezed by a large hand, a dull ache making my entire body tremble uncontrollably. 2. After that day, I repeatedly questioned myself. What had I done wrong? Why did the two people I cared about most want to hurt me like this? Others only knew that I loved Ethan and that we were childhood sweethearts. But what they didn't know was that we were betrothed since birth. From childhood right up until college, it was always Ethan who pursued me, wanting us to be officially recognized as a couple. Because I felt we were too familiar, I always saw him as an older brother. But as I grew older, I was moved by him, and my feelings for him began to change. Just as I was about to agree to be his girlfriend, Ethan, uncharacteristically, turned me down. He told me to focus on my studies. And then, later, I found myself chasing after Ethan. He had completely changed, his eyes no longer held any affection for me. I didn't know why, but I just thought if I was a burden to him, then I should just give up. Yet, just when I had resolved to let go, Ethan began years of torment. I had originally wanted to have a peaceful coexistence with him, but he relentlessly continued to toy with and mock me. I suppose Ethan acted this way towards me because he was unwilling to accept defeat. After all, he had pursued me for so many years, and I was giving up on him so quickly. He felt the time invested wasn't balanced. He wanted to prove that I couldn't live without him. He craved that sense of being highly sought after. "Grace, why don't you put on a show and cry your eyes out right here? If you really cry, I'll pretend I didn't hear what you just said and let you go. How about that?" Ethan's voice dragged me back to reality. Looking at him, his games becoming increasingly cruel, I met his gaze with a cold expression. "Ethan, you're truly shameless. Get lost." Ethan hadn't expected me to curse at him, his face instantly hardened. I pushed him aside, stepped forward, took Marcus's hand, and headed straight out. Ethan stood frozen, staring intently at me. Seeing me about to leave the private room, he finally reacted. Grace, how could you stoop so low? Do you really think faking a marriage with some guy will force me to be with you? 3. I sneered. Faking a marriage? Think what you want. Ethan's lips tightened in displeasure. Grace, that's enough. I was just making a bet with a friend. You don't need to make a fool of yourself with this fake marriage stunt. I frowned slightly. Ethan thought he had hit a nerve and scoffed. After all, I genuinely don't love you, and you'll definitely come back to me after this bet. Don't blame me if I don't treat you well then. Looking at his arrogant superiority, the last shred of love I had for him completely vanished. Ethan, whether it's real or fake, the truth will come out eventually. With that, I took Marcus's hand and left. Ethan tried to stop us again, but Chelsea hooked her arm through his. Ethan, since Grace already has a fiancé, then I agree to be your girlfriend. She deliberately raised her voice, wanting to see my reaction. Ethan also looked at my retreating back and shouted, Grace, if you dare walk out of the club today, don't ever appear in front of me again. I didn't stop, responding calmly, as you wish. 4. Stepping out of the club, I was about to release his hand when Marcus pulled me into his embrace. Grace, using me and then ditching me? He looked down at me, his eyes full of displeasure. I pursed my lips and hooked my arm around his neck. I'm not ditching you. Marcus raised an eyebrow, pressing on, if you're not, then you're moving to my place right now. I fell silent. Seeing my lack of response, Marcus demanded, a little indignantly, Grace, have you forgotten what you promised me that day? How could I forget? In the days following the revelation of Ethan's bet, I still couldn't resist contacting him. But he acted as if nothing was wrong, telling me he was preparing a birthday party for me. Even though I knew the birthday party was a joke, I still wanted to fight for myself one last time. 3 days before my birthday, I asked Ethan out, wanting to have an honest talk with him. But the moment I mentioned canceling the birthday party, Ethan's face instantly turned cold. Grace, do you know how much effort I put into your birthday party? I want to give you the best of everything. I've already sent out the invitations to all my friends for your birthday celebration, and now you're telling me to cancel? Seeing his familiar features speak such insincere words, my heart ached. But I still said, can't you really cancel it? I want to spend my birthday alone with you. I'll never forget Ethan's expression when I said that. His eyebrows were raised casually, his eyes practically overflowing with mockery, yet he still said, I've already sent out the invitations. Wouldn't canceling now just make me a laughingstock? Grace, you don't want me to lose face in front of my friends, do you? I looked at him silently for a long time, eventually nodding. After left, I called Marcus, who had always liked me. After telling him the whole truth, I added, after the birthday party, let's get our marriage certificate. I'm tired, I want a stable life. Marcus was silent for a long time after hearing this. I thought I had been too abrupt, but then he said very seriously, I agree, and Grace, you'd better not back out. Otherwise, I'll drag you to the courthouse myself, even if I have to tie you up. Thinking of this, I sighed helplessly and nodded. Marcus instantly beamed, taking my hand and walking towards my house. 5. To be closer to Ethan, I had rented a rental apartment in our neighborhood where he also lived. As soon as we walked into our neighborhood gate, we saw Ethan walking out, holding Chelsea's hand. As we passed him, Ethan suddenly grabbed me. Grace, what? Aren't you being a good girl anymore? You're even bringing men home now? Before I could speak, Marcus brushed his hand away and pulled me close. Ethan, did you not brush your teeth? Why do your words stink so much? Ethan wasn't annoyed, his eyes mockingly fixed on me. Oh, someone who's faking a marriage is different, huh? These days, it's all about going the extra mile. But, I'm curious, you're playing such a big game today. If you don't get your marriage certificate tomorrow, how do you plan to clean up this mess? I gave him a cold glance, then, taking Marcus's hand, continued walking inside. Let's go. Marcus was overjoyed by my reaction, glared at Ethan, and obediently followed me. Ethan's face, however, turned cold. He gritted his teeth and said, Grace, you dare ignore me a guy? And again. Chelsea saw this and stopped me, kindly advising, Grace, please stop making a scene. Just apologize to Ethan, and I promise you can still be friends. Seeing desperately winking at me, I was speechless. Chelsea, you should worry about your own business first. With that, I took Marcus's hand and left. Reaching my rental apartment, I was about to open the door. Ethan pushed me aside and started entering my home's password. After opening the door, he walked in as if he owned the place. Oh, you haven't changed the password yet? Is my birthday really that important? My gaze darkened. I grabbed Ethan. Ethan, what exactly do you want? Ethan looked at me, mockingly saying, why so nervous? Aren't you getting married? I'm kindly here to clear out the portraits you drew of me. Wouldn't want a certain someone to misunderstand that we have something going on, right? I looked at Chelsea, the smile at her lips faded, and she looked back at me defiantly. I had been learning to paint since I was young, and especially after falling for Ethan, I drew a portrait of him almost every day. I had only told Chelsea about this, and I hadn't expected her to tell Ethan. Well, they were a couple after all, it was normal for them to share everything. I stepped aside, smiling and pointing to the living room. Perfect timing. All the fragments of your portraits are in the living room. See those black trash bags? Hurry up and take them away. Following my gaze, Ethan's eyes instantly turned cold. Marcus couldn't help but let out a chuckle. Ethan glared at him, then looked at me, his face full of suppressed anger. Grace, that's enough. Before I could react, Marcus had already pushed the two of them out and quickly locked the door. Ethan, never having been treated this way by me, roared, enraged. Grace, if I ever give you another chance to get close to me, I'm a dog. 6. Packing was done quickly, I barely helped at all. In no time, Marcus and I, along with my luggage, were at his mansion. Seeing grinning from ear to ear, a different kind of feeling stirred in my heart. That evening, I stayed in the master bedroom, and he stayed in the guest bedroom. First thing the next morning, Marcus dragged me out from under the covers and took me to the courthouse. I was still in a daze when the marriage certificate was already in my hand. Marcus posted on social media to announce our marriage. His friends, seeing the post, made a ruckus, insisting on a party and telling him to bring me along. Seeing I had no objections, the party was set for 3 days later. On the day of the party, my parents called me home. Only when I arrived did I learn that Ethan had tatted to them. My parents scolded me relentlessly. It wasn't until I showed them the marriage certificate, and they thoroughly checked Marcus's character, that they finally sighed. They admonished me to live a good life now that I was married and to bring Marcus home another time. Coming out of my parents' house, I felt a surge of frustration. Having known Ethan for over 20 years, I never imagined he was such a gossipy person. To run to my parents and start spreading rumors. Although I hadn't planned on keeping our marriage a secret from my parents, I hadn't intended for them to learn about Marcus's existence in such a way. Upon reaching the party venue, before I even entered, I saw Ethan smoking by the door. His face was flushed, clearly from drinking, and his eyes lit up for a moment when he saw me. I frowned slightly, trying to avoid him and walk inside, but blocked my path. You're quite well informed, knowing I'm here drinking. I looked up at him, his eyes lacked their usual teasing expression. This time, they held a faint smile. Since you're so understanding and even came to pick me up, I'll give you another chance. I was completely baffled, asking stiffly, what chance? Ethan raised an eyebrow at my question, leaning closer. A chance to admit your mistake. If you can satisfy me today, I might. Before he could finish, Marcus walked up to me. He put his arm around my waist and said, wife, let's go inside. Our friends are waiting for us. I acknowledged him and walked in with Marcus. When followed, he happened to hear Marcus's friends playfully calling me sister-in-law. 7. Ethan stared at me, his face dark. Grace, why are they calling you sister-in-law? I glanced at the people at the party, my gaze falling on those who had also been at my birthday party. I replied calmly, because we got our marriage certificate and are married, of course. Otherwise, Mr. Ethan, what do you think? Ethan and Marcus were both wealthy scions. Although they weren't friends, their circles inevitably overlapped. Ethan was here today because someone in their circle had said there was some excitement to be had, so he showed up. Seeing that I wasn't fawning over him as usual, Ethan's face grew even darker. He suppressed his anger and warned me, Grace, before my patience completely runs out, explain to them that you and Marcus are only faking your marriage. I looked at him with curiosity, as if I had just heard a joke. Then I spoke softly, Ethan, are you possessed? Ethan was enraged by my tone and attitude. He cursed under his breath, then grabbed my collar, trying to pull me out. Marcus stopped me and swung his fist, hitting Ethan. Ethan stumbled back, then, steadying himself, his eyes blazing, he tried to retaliate. You damn well dare to hit me. I quickly stepped in front of Marcus, warning, dare to hurt him, and I won't hesitate to have my dad withdraw Vance's investment. After saying that, I pulled Marcus and left, heading straight for the parking garage. As the car started, Ethan chased after us again. I told Marcus to step on the gas, but Ethan, seeing I wouldn't get out, blocked the car. The car braked sharply. Startled, I also erupted in fury. Slamming the door open, I slapped Ethan directly. If you want to die, don't die in front of my car. E.T. Han tilted his head, his tongue pressing against his stung cheek, and let out a low chuckle. Grace, you're truly something. To make me believe you, you not only faked a marriage but also threatened Vance. With me? Have you forgotten that you and I are childhood sweethearts? Our two families are the closest. Looking at the man I had loved for years, listening to his arrogant words, a wave of disgust washed over me. Only at this moment did I realize how sickening it was to define him and me with the term childhood sweethearts. I said impatiently, Ethan, the only reason you're clinging to me like this is because you don't want to lose that feeling of being adored and chased, right? Childhood sweethearts, closest people, don't make me sick. With that, I pushed him away from the car and smoothly got in. Before the car drove off, Ethan shouted at the taillights, Grace, you'd better remember what you said today, and don't you dare come acting cheap in front of me again. 8. That night, I brought Marcus home. When my parents saw him again, their worried hearts finally settled. The two of them peppered Marcus with questions, leaving me no room to speak, so I simply went up to my bedroom. I hadn't stayed at home for a long time, and my room upstairs still held many small gifts Ethan had given me. I picked up a large trash bag and put all the gifts inside. After meticulously checking twice to make sure nothing was left out, I carried the trash bag downstairs. After saying hello, I headed towards Ethan's mansion. His house was next door to mine. As much as I used to cherish being his neighbor, I now detested it just as much. I wished I could immediately convince my parents to buy a new house and move away from here. Reaching his front gate, I hesitated whether to ring the doorbell or just throw the things in the trash can. His housekeeper, Aunt, walked out carrying a grocery basket. I was overjoyed and quickly handed the items to Aunt, asking her to return them to Ethan, and hurried back home. We ate dinner at my parents' house. It wasn't until 10 o'clock that night that my parents finally allowed us to go home. That night, Ethan's call came in. I didn't answer and immediately blocked his number. Unexpectedly, the next day, when I returned to my art studio, intending to pack up and move it away from the street where Vance was located, he pushed the door open and walked in. Seeing him, my face instantly turned cold. Leave now. You're not welcome here. Ethan wasn't annoyed, he casually flipped through my paintings. I put down my easel and went to push him. He didn't dodge, instead taking hold of my wrist. Grace, even if you want to return my things and cut ties with me, you should return them to me personally, right? Don't worry, my Chelsea wouldn't be as petty as you, even if she knew you met me in private. Hearing him suddenly call me by my nickname and compare me to Chelsea, I felt a surge of irritation. I quickly pulled my hand away, frowning. I don't think there's any need for us to meet again. Get out of my art studio now. Ethan's eyes, which had been smiling, suddenly lost their amusement when he saw my stacked belongings. Grace, what are you doing? Just then, Marcus pushed the door open and walked in. What are we doing? Moving, of course. Is Ethan blind in both heart and eyes? The atmosphere instantly became tense. I walked over and linked arms with Marcus. Husband, let's go. The moving company can handle these things. 9. After leaving the art studio, Marcus couldn't stop smiling. I asked helplessly, Mr. Marcus, if you keep smiling like that, I'll start to wonder if you're possessed. Marcus looked at me with twinkling eyes, saying seriously, Grace, I'm very happy. I didn't understand and blurted out, happy about what? Marcus gazed at me deeply, the love in his eyes almost drowning me. Just as I awkwardly turned my head away, he cupped my face with both hands and replied, I'm happy that Mrs. Marcus called husband. My mind instantly went blank with a loud boom. I could feel my face rapidly reddening. Although I knew Marcus liked me and we had gotten our marriage certificate, being teased by him like this was a first. Seeing my shy and flustered expression, Marcus's spirits soared even higher. He drove all the way to the mansion, his smile never fading. His good mood was infectious, and I also began to relax. After lunch, I was drowsy, sitting in a lounge chair on the balcony. Seeing this, Marcus simply picked me up in his arms and carried me to the master bedroom on the second floor. He gently set me down, then got into bed himself. Just as he was about to pull me into his embrace, I suddenly said, Mr. Marcus, I'm not asleep yet. Marcus's hand froze in midair, and he looked at me pitifully. Grace, we're married now. His expression made me laugh, and I voluntarily snuggled into his arms. Marcus froze for a moment, then tightened his embrace. Once nestled in his arms, I couldn't sleep anymore and asked curiously, Mr. Marcus, why do you like me? Marcus nuzzled my hair with his chin and replied, love at first sight. Who could resist a beautiful, intelligent little angel who's also kind and patient with stray animals? Only then did I realize, you knew me in college? Wife, I wasn't just at the same university as you, I was in the same graduating class. To my surprise, Marcus added sourly, but my wife only had eyes for that scoundrel during college. Deeply moved, I rolled over and kissed the jealous man. Outside, the sun was shining brightly, and inside the bedroom, the atmosphere was intimate and intoxicating. 10. When I woke up, it was already evening. The person beside me was gone. I stretched my incredibly sore body, shakily trying to get out of bed. The moment my feet touched the floor, I let out a yelp and tumbled down. Marcus, who was on the phone, heard the commotion and rushed in from outside. He scooped me up, checking me carefully. Wife, are you okay? I looked at the tightly frowning man, a little shyly covering my naked body. Seeing that I still had the strength to cover myself, Marcus chuckled, annoyed, looks like you're fine. We're legally married, we've done everything married couples do. Why are you still afraid for me to see you? I never knew Marcus could be so shameless. I glared and punched his arm. Stop it. Put me down. Before could reply, a chaotic noise came from his phone. Ethan, you're punching glass with your bare hands, are you crazy? Quick, quick, the blood won't stop. Get him to the hospital. My gaze shifted from Marcus's phone to him, silently asking for an explanation. Before could speak, another roar came from the other end of the line. Marcus, you damn well dare to touch my woman, I'm going to ruin you. Hearing's hoarse voice, I frowned. Ethan, are you sick? My voice rang out, and the phone line went silent. I picked up the phone, intending to hang up directly, but Ethan said in a choked voice, Grace, come out and meet me. I'll give you the result you want. Marcus frowned, snatched the phone, and said, Ethan, dream on. He quickly hung up and tossed the phone aside. I lay on my side under the covers, looking at him, signaling for an explanation. Marcus pulled me, blankets and all, into his embrace and said softly, David called me out for drinks. If I had known Ethan would be there, I wouldn't have answered that call for anything. David was Marcus's closest friend. He had missed the party a few days ago because he was away on a business trip, so he didn't know what had happened that day. He had just returned today and organized a get-together, and Ethan had been dragged along by some mutual friends. I didn't believe Ethan was unaware of David and Marcus's relationship. Why would he go in such a situation? He was acting like he was sick. 11. The evening gathering broke up early because of Ethan. Marcus invited David to our house. I wanted to cook a meal, but Marcus felt I had been exhausted that afternoon, delivery service. I was curled up on the sofa watching TV, while the two of them sat around the sofa, had drinks and appetizers. My phone on the coffee table vibrated constantly. Marcus glanced at it and handed it to me. I opened it and saw an unknown number had sent 2 intimate photos that were difficult to describe. The sensitive parts were blurred out, but I would recognize those 2 faces even if they were turned to ashes. I had just deleted these 2 disgusting photos when another text message came in. Grace, don't get cocky. What if you chased after Ethan for so many years? He still belongs to me. I picked up Marcus's phone and sent the photo of Ethan's injury that his friend had posted in their group chat to my own phone. Then I sent that photo to Chelsea. I deliberately provoked her. So what? Your man is still throwing a tantrum over me. The phone rang the next second. I swiftly hung up and blocked her number. I was secretly delighted, muttering, that'll piss you off. But when I turned around, I saw Marcus looking at me with a dark expression. My little heart trembled, and I quickly leaned in to kiss his lips. I was just trying to annoy her. I swear I didn't mean anything else. Marcus's face then cleared up. He pulled me closer, making me sit beside him. Just as the 3 of us were enjoying a pleasant chat, my phone started vibrating again. I opened it and saw yet another unknown number. Opening the picture message, it was a photo of a bloody and mangled hand injury. Grace, I'm hurt. Can you come to the hospital to see me? I rolled my eyes and replied, notify me for your funeral, I'll definitely be there then. 12. In 3 days, it would be Northwood University's anniversary celebration. As outstanding graduates of Northwood University, Marcus and I were both invited to attend. Thinking there were still 3 days, I took Marcus to Vivian's boutique, my favorite clothing studio, wanting to order 2 suits for him. When found out, he was so happy he dragged me out from under the covers first thing in the morning. I yawned constantly in the passenger seat, thinking I definitely needed to lay down some rules for him when we got back. If he didn't know how to control himself, I was genuinely afraid we would die prematurely. When we arrived at the studio, Vivian, the owner, greeted me warmly with a hug. But then, seeing a smiling Marcus behind me, she paused, releasing me slightly. "And this gentleman is?" I smiled, linking arms with him, and introduced, "My husband, Marcus." Vivian's eyes instantly widened. She looked at Marcus, then at me, wanting to ask something but ultimately holding back. After taking Marcus's measurements, Vivian handed him a book of clothing styles. Then she pulled me aside and whispered, "Grace, you're married? What about Ethan then?" The moment she spoke, I immediately put my index finger to her lips. Glancing at Marcus, who was looking through the style book, I whispered, "Don't mention him. My husband is a bit sensitive." Vivian chuckled. Marcus heard her and looked back. "Grace, what are you two talking about?" "I was just telling Grace that you two are absolutely perfect for each other." Vivian's clothing studio must be making money. Her tongue was certainly sharp, and her mind worked quickly. After hearing this flattering remark, Marcus's lips curved so far up they almost reached his ears. Originally, we only planned to choose 3 styles for clothes, but directly pointed at the entire catalog and said, "No need to choose. I'll take one of everything in this book, and Grace's every outfit needs a matching one for me." Vivian beamed, agreeing repeatedly. I opened my mouth but eventually gave up speaking. Fine, Mr. Marcus has money, as long as he's happy. Just as the atmosphere was perfect, someone called my name from the doorway. "Grace?" I looked over in response. Ethan was quickly walking towards me. Marcus reacted first, sure. Elding me behind him, watching Ethan warily. I peered out and frowned, asking, "Ethan, you're truly a persistent ghost. What are you doing here?" 13. Ethan looked at me with a wounded expression. Only then did I notice that the man, who usually looked so spirited and immaculately dressed, now appeared haggard. His right hand was wrapped in a thick bandage, the outermost layer soaked with fresh blood. I frowned slightly and averted my gaze. Ethan spoke in a hoarse voice, calling me, "Grace, why didn't you come to the hospital to see me?" I looked at him, puzzled. "What relationship do we have that I should go to the hospital to see you?" Ethan's eyes instantly dimmed at my words, and he mumbled, "What relationship? You used to say you'd marry no one but me." The atmosphere instantly became stagnant. Marcus's anger was on the verge of erupting. Seeing this, I quickly pulled Marcus towards the lounge, coaxing him softly, "Husband, let's go see if there are any other catalogs." Ethan tried to follow, but Vivian approached him with a new suit. "Mr. Ethan, are you here to pick up your clothes today? They're ready. If there's no problem, could you please leave?" Although was smiling, seeing that I hadn't given Ethan a pleasant look, her attitude had become firmer. I suddenly remembered that I had ordered this suit as a birthday gift for Ethan. Fearing that the size might not be right, I had directly told him I was getting him a suit and led him to Vivian's to be measured. I never expected that he, who usually never valued any gifts I gave him, would specifically come to pick this one up. Marcus's lips were pressed together as he followed me. Just as I was about to lead him into the lounge, Ethan started making a fuss again. "Grace, this is the suit you personally customized for me. I want you to be with me while I try it on." With a bang, a large dent appeared in the doorframe where Marcus had hit it. My heart sank rapidly. Ethan, usually so arrogant and wild, was acting particularly strangely today. He took 2 punches from Marcus without a sound, without resisting. He just hugged the suit to his chest, staring intently at me, his eyes full of sorrow. Even after I pulled Marcus out of the studio, Ethan didn't say another word. He just kept holding the suit tightly. 14. For several days, Marcus stayed home with me and didn't go to work. I knew he was in a bad mood, so I didn't say much. On the day of the school anniversary celebration, I tied his tie for him, and after a long time of affectionate lingering, Marcus finally led me out the door. Everything went smoothly until the end of the celebration. Marcus then let me wander around campus while he went with the university administration to his office to catch up. But just as I reached the school fountain, I ran into Ethan. I turned to leave, but Ethan quickly blocked my path. I took a few steps back to create distance, frowning slightly. "Mr. Ethan, is there something you need?" Ethan's eyes instantly reddened, and he said pitifully, "Grace, do you have to be so sharp-tongued with me now?" I glanced at him, then helplessly averted my gaze. "Ethan, at this point, what more is there for us to say?" "There is." Ethan became agitated, taking a few steps closer to me. "Grace, I regret it. I shouldn't have taken so long to understand my own heart. Will you give me another chance?" I was already pressed against the edge of the fountain and could only extend my hand, signaling him not to come any closer, but seemed to misunderstand my meaning and kept advancing towards me. Just as I gasped, almost falling into the fountain, he suddenly reached out and pulled me. Before my heart could settle, he quickly pulled me into his embrace. He held my waist tightly, his eyes fixed on me without blinking, a faint light glowing within them. Grace, how could you have feelings for Marcus after only a few days? We're childhood sweethearts, I have to be the one in your heart. Please, just give me an other chance, okay? He kept drawing closer, and I struggled, but it was no use. Furious, I slapped him hard across the face. While he was stunned, I quickly pushed him away and moved to a safe distance. The hope in Ethan's eyes extinguished instantly. He spoke with difficulty. Grace, are you really going to hurt me like this for someone you've only known a few days? I looked at him and suddenly laughed. Ethan, you yourself know that Marcus and I have only known each other for a few days. Someone I've just known for a few days can cherish me in the palm of his hand and give me complete security, yet you, my childhood sweetheart, only ever saw me as a backup plan. Tell me, if you were in my shoes, what would you choose? After my words, Ethan no longer had the courage to look me in the eye. He squeezed his eyes shut, and tears silently streamed from the corners. I turned to leave, but Ethan grabbed the hem of my skirt. My patience was running out. I said coldly, Ethan, let go. He didn't release me, trembling so visibly that I could feel it even without turning around. Grace, I truly know I was wrong. I shouldn't have made that bet with Chelsea, and I never should have toyed with your feelings. I'm a complete jerk. I beg you, please, just forgive me this one time, okay? 15. I had known Ethan for over 20 years. It was the first time I'd ever seen him so utterly desperate. I wondered if things would have turned out differently if he had pleaded with me like this on the day of the bet. But what's done is done. In the end, we were only ever meant to be strangers. Ethan, if you have any dignity left, stop bothering me. After all, I'm not interested in dirty trash. Grace, I'm not dirty. Ethan hastily denied. I scoffed. Chelsea sent me nude photos of the two of you. Do you want to see them? I can pull them up for you? Ethan fell completely silent. Marcus was quickly making his way toward me. I forcefully pushed Ethan away and warned him, Ethan, if you want to stay in one piece, stop harassing me. My husband will go absolutely berserk if he sees you, and I won't be able to stop him. Although I said that, we live in a lawful society, and I wouldn't let Marcus actually go astray. While was staring, distracted, in Marcus's direction, I suddenly shoved him with all my might into the fountain. Seeing him soaked like a drowned rat, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Marcus was still breathless when he reached my side, which showed just how anxious he had been. I thought he would blame me, or confront Ethan. Instead, he just pulled me close, checking me carefully from head to toe. Only when he saw I was unharmed did he look at me with reddened eyes. Wife, I couldn't get through to your phone, and then someone told me you'd left with Ethan when I was looking for you. Do you know how worried and scared I was? Seeing the pitifully vulnerable man before me, my heart softened. I stood on tiptoe and kissed his thin lips. While he was distracted, I wrapped my arms around his waist and nestled into his embrace. Honey, don't worry, I'm fine. Let's go home. 16. Because wouldn't leave me alone, Marcus simply handed all his company's business dealings over to his father. He then took me traveling far and wide. It was essentially our honeymoon. Before the trip, our families met and initially discussed holding a grand wedding for us. However, the thought of the elaborate traditions involved in a wedding made both Marcus and me politely decline our parents' kind offer. In the end, we simply invited an intimate dinner with close family and friends. During our travels, to prevent Ethan from getting a new number and harassing me, I entrusted my phone to Marcus. Marcus was more than happy to oblige, smiling cheerfully every day. Gradually, I realized I was falling in love with him. It's embarrassing to admit, but back then, I truly believed that after escaping the hell of Ethan, I might never love again. But I'd forgotten that genuine action can be reciprocated. It was 3 months later when we returned to Viridia City, and the city was already experiencing falling temperatures and snow. Vivian knew I was back and invited me for afternoon tea. During our chat, she gossiped, Grace, you two were away for 3 months, didn't you end up expecting a baby? I had just said no when, the next second, I started feeling nauseous and wanted to throw up. A checkup at the hospital confirmed I was indeed pregnant. I was walking out with my pregnancy test results when I saw a figure in the hospital garden who looked remarkably like Ethan. However, that person was missing a leg and was in a wheelchair. Vivian leaned in and said, I can't believe we ran into Ethan. I heard that on the night you left, 3 months ago, he drove like a maniac to the airport to find you, but he crashed head-on with a semi-truck. He was in the ICU in a coma for a long time and lost a leg. I frowned slightly, but felt no inner turmoil. Vivian continued, during the time Ethan was in a coma, doctors said his chances of waking up were slim. He's the only son of the Vance family, and his parents were practically distraught with grief, praying to every god imaginable. Finally, someone told them that marrying for luck and recovery might help Ethan wake up. The woman pushing the wheelchair is his wife. I heard the Vance family gave her a substantial settlement in 8 figures. It was then that I realized Vivian's so-called wife was indeed Chelsea. Chelsea saw me too and quickly pushed Ethan away. I frowned and asked, "Ethan looks a bit vacant." Vivian replied, "Yes, I heard that due to the prolonged coma, he suffered permanent brain damage. It's a miracle he's not disfigured or paralyzed." Watching's retreating back, I felt a pang of melancholy. She was originally a highly educated and attractive young woman, but she chose to be deceitful and take the wrong path. And in the end, she ruined her entire life for a bit of money. Back home, I told Marcus the news about my pregnancy. He was as happy as a thrilled child, holding me tightly and refusing to let go. Once he calmed down, I brought up seeing Ethan at the hospital today. To my surprise, Marcus showed no surprise at all. Instead, he told me even more details. Finally, he cautiously informed me, "Grace, when his accident happened, he called you, saying he wanted to see you one last time." Marcus didn't voice the rest, but looked at me with deep unease. I smiled and simply embraced him, sensing his apprehension. Leaning against his shoulder, I whispered softly, "Honey, in my heart, you and our baby are all that matter." Seeing his bright, sparkling eyes, my own spirits lifted. With him and our baby by my side, I would never be alone again. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.